Hi, I'm Richard Burns, and thanks for coming to In the Flow, the channel for spiritual beings about spiritual beings. All of our episodes are embedded with transformational energy. Thus, as you watch, you can receive healing energy.
My name is Carri Selk, shamanic healer, and I've got an integrative process that I've created through my experience in different modalities and through my own awakening embodiment process that has allowed me to support people in areas to support them being grounded, connected in their power, freedom, and clear. My mother would always say when I was born, like, who are you anyways? So I think there was an aspect or awareness or consciousness, although I probably wasn't present to it, growing up, because you're not around actually, my aunt was a healer as well. And so I was lucky and fortunate to have her in my life and present on that level. So just always interested in that level of consciousness and spirituality. And then it was just more of a conscious choice in my path where I was like, okay, I'm ready for that next step. And that was a bit of an ego shift for me, actually, surprisingly, because I was always very interested, but it was stepping out of that mainstream role and being like, no, I need to step into this. And so that's when I consciously shifted my path. My dreams have been a huge part of my journey and guiding process. And so I was following my dreams, listening to my dreams, and they led me into it. I would say that the inner labyrinth, if you will. And so it was a little surprising when all of a sudden where I felt I was being guided, which of course was, every step of the way guided all the way along perfectly. But when things then started to like, oh, this is not happening. And this is not happening in reality. And it was just this culmination of events that just all of a sudden just, I don't want to say blew up, or just allowed you to access. I was already at a very skilled level. And so it was, even with my skill set, it was a process of integrating and making sense of the world around us. Of course, as my own, illusion and the ego was shedding, it was introducing that multidimensional perspective that we have, but past life, karmic, ancestral pieces were huge and at the forefront that needed to be acknowledged. That then for the next few years was definitely an integration process of. To me, it's like the dying of the ego, the illusion, and any experience really, whether it's on a daily basis, whether it's, a life event or a death of some sort, we are constantly moving through that cycle. And there's just different levels to me of that process or heightened experiences that can evolve from events. To me, it's a buildup of energy that actually, once we actually tune in and are present with, we can track and be with and support it in a process. Which means it's a birth. It's really what it comes down to, is it's like a birth experience. And with the birth experience, we are letting go of a part of ourselves. A huge part, I think, of the experience is being present along the process. And it's like, say in a book, and chapters in a book, and we might be in the paragraph, and we might be only seeing the paragraph, but there's that expanded viewpoint. And so I think it was bringing to consciousness pieces that in the moment we just are not able to. So it is on that timeline perspective. And so even earlier this year, I was able to bring to consciousness these ancestral pieces that I was connecting with over a time frame of, just it's that expansion of consciousness, really, and it's holding the light on all those layers. And it was, dreams have been so strong, but it was just that moment where it was that recognition and seeing the timelines I'd been working on both sides of the family, and all of a sudden they were connecting. And so it was through just that, when things are showing up and you're like, oh, this is showing up, this is showing up, this is showing up, and it's all connected, and it's all connected in this moment of time with these patterns and timelines. And it just really brought, again, that awareness and consciousness. And once we're aware and conscious of these pieces and it connects, it's like, it's just, yeah, it's very significant for sure. So how I work is in a session, when somebody arrives, I have that ability to tune into where they're at, almost like a pre-assessment, where things are being held on that mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual level. And through that, then it's connecting with the client and what's arising at present and how that is related to what they're working with at the present. And then we set an intention, and then we're guided back into those areas that we're looking at. And then it's actually a weaving in between the conscious and unconscious in an embodied way, where then we're actually bringing forth what is, the outcome and the result of being able to connect in on that piece. The common denominator for me, for sure, is when people are not being able to see the unseen. Either they're stuck, they're like, okay, they're starting to notice the patterns and they can't get out of it, right? So the unconscious pieces, people might be stuck, they might be blocked, not be able to move forward. What aspects are showing up in their life that they're not seeing that are preventing them from being able to move forward? To me, anxiety is about the future, depression is about that past, the buildup of things that have not been seen. And so what is keeping us from being in the present are those unseen pieces. And so once those are acknowledged, then we're allowed to be living in the present. So for me, it's whether it's the unresolved trauma, the ancestral, even on that, on the earth, alone, the energies that are being present and just living because we haven't been able to connect and live in that harmonic place and balance because of the dynamics and unconscious, energies at play. There's things that you sometimes take for granted and you don't realize people aren't tuned in, but I also am aware that you can feel it, and you can feel that, that desire and excitement for people to be at the same level or on the same wavelength. And it's also recognizing that everybody's playing that, role in their process. And, but yeah, definitely not always, and I think that's part of my journey, is supporting others in those areas where they're not being seen and acknowledged. In my own life, that's where it's like, when other people can't see and acknowledge those pieces that you're holding, and who you are, it's definitely, it's refreshing when you meet people that are on that same level or page. I think with any relationship, I think at the level, which I think is, I'm very grateful to be where I'm at, but in any relationship, I'm able to see the roles, I'm able to see the dynamics, I'm able to see the unconscious pieces that person's moving through and the role I'm playing for them. So even the other day in an experience, I was very aware of showing up to a scene and playing a certain role for somebody else to get a lesson, and a role that I would not always be comfortable with. So I'm aware of, I'm doing it as a teacher level. And so it's just it's a level of consciousness that, and you're moving through a process regardless with anybody, right? And people that are close in your life. And it's the dynamic of knowing, what is yours, what role do you need to play here, and supporting yourself in that. I would say today in the world where we're at, I feel like we're in an awakening process. I feel like the earth is an awakening process. I feel a lot of what has not been seen is being brought to the conscious. And again, coming back from that ancestral perspective, and on that collective level, anything that's never been seen and acknowledged is being brought forth. And once things are brought forth, then they can start to be healed and acknowledged. And so for right now, it feels like, to me, it's on that planetary aspect. Anything unseen and acknowledged is being brought to the surface to be healed. In the one context, we could say we always have been awakened and enlightened. I think we're bringing more consciousness to that aspect of ourselves by acknowledging those aspects that were in the dark or in the shadows or unseen or unacknowledged, and bringing it forth to the light for sure. Life's mission is to support others in bringing consciousness and presence to their awakening process. So there's a very conscious, clear connection with what they're bringing forth into the world and their vision. connecting or supporting them in connecting with their vision if they haven't, and then allowing them to bring that forth in a very conscious, clear way.